Hi everyone, good day. Today we will be having our discussion about the Unit 1, which is the brief history and nature of dance. But to be specific, we'll be talking about the definition of dance, history of dance exercise, and then the purposes of dance. So, let's start. Okay, again, we have here Unit 1, an introduction to dance, which covers the brief history and nature of dance. Now, first, let's have our definition to dance. Dance is an art form that shows expression and is really involved with movement. Dance is normally for fun and entertainment. People usually dance to music. Dance is also an important part of ceremonies, rituals, celebration, and entertainment. Choreographies may be performed solo, with a partner, or with a group. Either way, each dance tells a story. Another one, dance is known as an excellent way to improve physical fitness and develop social skills, thereby improving mental health, and it's something that can be taken up early in life and still provide plenty of entertainment well after retirement. So, I guess that is the purpose of our dance exercise or our dance in the curriculum, in your curriculum. It is for you to improve your physical fitness and develop social skills, especially that we are on the pandemic. Like, we need to be productive and we need to move. There. Dance also shares the holistic practice approach. It is a complex sensory-motor rhythmic activity integrating multiple physical, cognitive, and social elements, all of which has the potential to ameliorate a wide range of physiological and cognitive fall risk factors. When we talk about dance, there are actually a lot of definitions and ideas that will come up into our minds, not upon hearing it, but let's not dig into those definitions more since our topic will be focusing on the history of dance. Yeah, now let's move on to the brief history of dance. So, dance does not leave behind clearly identifiable physical artifacts such as stone tools, hunting implements, or cave paintings. It is not possible to say when dance became part of human culture. Dance has certainly been an important part of ceremonies, rituals, celebrations, and entertainment since before the birth of the earliest human civilizations. Archaeology delivers traces of dance from prehistoric times, such as Egyptian tomb painting depicting dancing figures from circa 3300 BC and the rock shelters of Bhimbetka paintings and India. One of the earliest structures uses of dance may have been in the practice and telling of myths. Before the introduction of written languages, dance was one of the methods of passing these stories from generation to generation. Now, we have here different eras and different times that will trace back the history of dance. First one is we have the prehistoric era. The second one, ancient Egypt. Third one, ancient Greek. Fourth one, ancient Rome. Fifth, dark and middle ages. Sixth, age of chivalry. And the last one, early Renaissance. The first one is we have the prehistoric era. So during this time, dance may have been in the performance and telling of myths, which is one of the methods of passing these stories from generation to generation. People from prehistoric era performed ways they hope would appease the forces of nature or give them new powers of their own. Dance also has been a major form of religious rituals and social expressions within primitive culture, and used as, first, a way of expressing and reinforcing tribal unity and strength, second, as an approach for courtship and mating, third, means of worship, communication, and therapeutic experiences. The second one is we have the ancient Egypt. During this time, dance became full-blown and was richly recorded, and it was reflected in their wall paintings, reliefs, and literary records in hieroglyphs. What is hieroglyphs? Hieroglyphs is a written character that looks like a picture, and most of the dances during this era were chiefly a medium of religious expressions, rites of passages, ceremonies, passing one role to another. Now again, we have here the first one, the prehistoric era, and the second one is our ancient Egypt. Now let's move on to the third one, which is ancient Greek. So dance during this time was taught as an aid to military education among boys in Athens and Sparta. During this time as well, dance was not just for religious and military training, but also as a form of entertainment and display. Fourth one is dance during the ancient Rome. During this time, dance was given less importance because most performers were slaves and captives. It stopped valuing such qualities in art as the nation grew wealthy and powerful. Romans ceased to create and perform within the art. Dance became brutal and sensationalized as their entertainers were slaves and captives from many nationalities and was used more often for gruesome purposes like causes horror or disgust and even awful. So dance became an integral part of the corruption in the latter days of the Roman Empire, resulting in the condemnation of dance by the early Christians. So there. Again, we have first, we can trace dance to first, prehistoric era, the second one, ancient Egypt, third one, ancient Greek, and then the fourth one, ancient Rome. Now let's move on to the next one, the fifth era, which is the Dark and Middle Ages. During this time, the development of the Catholic Church in Europe following the fall of Rome transformed the history of dance. During this time, the church was the sole custodian of learning and education as well as the source of morals. When the first Christian emperors came, theatrical entertainment was prohibited. However, dance still existed and performed within the church during religious ceremonies. Christian fathers approved the use of dance, provided that its form and intent were holy and profound. Dance then during this time became part of worship and church services. Not just with the dances, the dances for worship and church services, Dark and Middle Ages also marked the beginning of social dances. So the peasants performed two basic types of dance, which is first the round dance and the second one is the couple dance. When we talk about a round dance, dancers hold each other by hand, forming a long chain and move around in an open or closed circle or extended line. And then when we say couple dance, during this time, it was not that popular as round dance as it was considered as scandalous when first seen. Sixth, we have here the age of chivalry. Nobility followed the peasants' lead in dancing, but in a more refined and courtly form. Court dances emerged as part of the chivalric way of life because of noblemen and women's nature of clothing and elaborate accessories. Dance steps were limited to gliding, courtesying, and posing as they were not able to move freely. Noblemen danced in smooth floor or wood or polished marble called the ballroom, while the peasants' dances in contrast have large movements and wide stepping figures due to less elaborate costumes allowing bigger movements. They dance also on the grass or on the beaten earth of the town. And then lastly is we have the dance during the early Renaissance. During this time, Dance then was wholly accepted in the courts as gradual increase of the capitalist class produced patrons of learning and art in Europe. Dance and art gained impetus or driving force or impulse, and then entertainers became valuable appendage to the courts of Italy and France, and they were to serve the secular goals of the wealthy and powerful nobles who had emerged throughout Europe. So there. Before we proceed with the history of dance exercise, now let's review the history of dance. First one, it comes from the prehistoric era, in which dance has been a form of religious rituals and social expressions within primitive cultures, and used as a way of expressing and reinforcing tribal unity and strength. The next one is dance during the ancient Egypt, in which dance was reflected on their wall paintings, reliefs, and the literary records in hieroglyphs. Third, dance during the ancient Greek, in which dance was taught as an aid to military education. Fourth, during the ancient Rome. During this time, the performers were slaves and captives, and corruption erupted during this time. And then we have the Dark and the Middle Ages, in which dance became part of worship and church services, and then it also marked the beginning of the social dance. Seventh, we had the Age of Chivalry, in which the dances were accepted in a courtly form, and the dance steps were limited to gliding, courtesying, and posing, as the dancers were not able to move freely, and the ballroom was introduced to the noblemen, and the peasants were able to dance in the grass or on the beaten earth of town. And then lastly, we have the dance during the early Renaissance, in which dance was wholly accepted, and it gained impetus or driving force among the courts of Italy and France. Now let's move on to our second topic, which is the dance exercise. So dance exercise has its own origins in traditional dance, but at most gyms and other recreational outfits. It is also known as aerobics or aerobic dance, and even jazzercise, zumba, and hip-hop dance, and the list continues to grow as the definition of dance exercise continues to develop. There. Now we have here the proponents of our dance exercise. First one is we have Kenneth H Cooper. Second one, Howard and Karen Swartz. Third, Jackie Sorenson. And then the last one is we have Judy Shepard Misette. For the first proponent is we have here Kenneth H Cooper. Dr. Kenneth H Cooper is a doctor of medicine and a former Air Force colonel of Oklahoma, and he actually pioneered the benefits of doing aerobic exercise for maintaining and improving health. He is also the author of the 1968 book Aerobics, which emphasized a point system for improving the cardiovascular system. Now, according to him, aerobics consists in a system of exercises to prevent coronary artery sickness, which was first put forwarded by him in San Antonio Air Force Hospital in Texas. Sometimes after the publishing of Cooper's book with respect to the exercise system, aerobics in 1968, a person called Jackie Sorenson developed a series of dance routines known as the aerobic dance to generously improve the cardiovascular system. So aerobic dance and other art forms or dance forms or forms of exercises gained existence and made its way prudently between the masses all over United States and many other countries, and that too in a very short span of around 2 decades. For the mentioned previously, one can easily observe the enormous popularity of aerobics between the people around the world. So that is the contribution of Dr. Kenneth H. Cooper. Then the second one is we have Howard and Karen Swartz. In the year 1983, Howard and Karen Swartz developed a very new and competitive sport called sports aerobics. And in the year 1984, their group organization known as Sport Fitness International has the credit of organizing the first national aerobic championship. Sports aerobics at the beginning started featuring competitions in 4 categories, namely individual male and female, mixed pairs, and trio, which have the facility to include any of the 3 athletes. In 1996, sports aerobics is officially adopted as a gymnastic discipline. Aerobics grows at a tedious pace since the day of its prelude. Yan. So again, we have here the second proponent, which is Howard and Karen Swartz. Again, let's go back to the first proponent, Mr. Kenneth H. Cooper, and he pioneered the benefits of doing aerobic exercises for maintaining and improving health, especially the cardiovascular system. Then for the second one, we have Howard and Karen Swartz, in which they developed a new and competitive sport called sports aerobics. Now let's move on to the third proponent, which is Jackie Sorenson. Jackie Sorenson is the originator of aerobic dancing. According to her, aerobic dancing is a program that combines the benefits of jogging with the fun of dancing. Sorenson created her program in 1969 after being asked to design a women's fitness television program. Her dance exercise programs has grown and are still offered throughout the United States and in Japan and Australia. Okay, again, let's go back to the first proponent. Okay, we have Kenneth H. Cooper, in which he pioneered the benefits of doing aerobic exercise for maintaining and improving health, specifically the cardiovascular system. Then the next one, Howard and Karen Swartz, in which they developed a very new and competitive sport, which is called sports aerobics. And then the third one, we have Jackie Sorenson, who is the originator of aerobic dancing. Now let's have the fourth and the last proponent, which is Judy Shepard Misset. So Judy Shepard Misset created one of the first dance exercise craze called the jazzercise in 1969 that quickly grew in popularity worldwide. Offering a fusion of jazz dance, resistance training, pilates, yoga, and kickboxing movements, jazzercise is still a well-liked form of dance exercise and fitness with 32,000 classes held weekly in 32 different countries. So most gyms and other recreational venues offer a variety of dance exercise classes. For example, participate in Zumba for a Latin flavored class, or Bollywood dance for an experience based on Indian traditional dances. Most classes are designed for all fitness level but combine techniques and moves from interval training and dance routine for a workout that promotes ultimate fat burning and fitness. Ultimately, any form of dance including a lot of movements will provide you with aerobic or cardio exercises. Now, let's sum up again the proponents for our dance exercise. We have first one, Dr. Kenneth H. Cooper, in which he pioneered the benefits of doing aerobic exercise for maintaining and improving health. specifically the cardiovascular system. Next one is we have Howard and Karen Swartz, in which they developed a very new and competitive sport called sports aerobics. The third one is we have Jackie Sorenson, in which she is the originator of aerobic dancing. And the last one we have Judy Shepard, in which she created the first dance exercise craze, which is called jazzercise. So there, we are done with the history of dance and dance exercise. Then let's start the purposes of dance. There are a lot of purposes of dance, but we will discuss three purposes of dance. For the first one is we have the ceremonial dance, the second one recreational dance, and then the last one is our artistic dance. Let's first have the ceremonial dance. Ceremonial dance is dancing to show praise or to commemorate important events. Ceremonial dance is a dance performed through rituals, and then some ceremonial dances are religious, some are performed for birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, and other life-altering events. Again, when we talk about ceremonial dance, this is to show praise or to commemorate important events. Then the second one is we have our recreational dance. Recreational dance is a dance to have fun or to socialize. Like recreational dance styles change with time, societal structures, and group interests. For example, we have our aerobic dances, line dancing, ballroom dancing such as waltz, foxtrot, swing, Latin, salsa, etc. Again, our recreational dance, a dance to have fun or to socialize. I guess we can include here our budots, the disco dances. Then the third one is we have our artistic dance. So artistic dance, these are movement that is performed to entertain an audience. For example, we have here our ballet, our tap, modern, and jazz dance. Again, artistic dance, these are movement that is performed to entertain an audience. Now let's have a recap since we are done with the purposes of the dance. Again, for the first one, we have the definition of dance, in which it is an art form that shows expression and is really involved with movement, or we dance to express our emotions, we dance to express what we feel, if either we're happy, we're sad, or we're angry, etc. Then we have here the history of dance, in which we can trace it back through different eras. Now we have prehistoric era, ancient Egypt, from ancient Greek to ancient Rome, dark and middle ages, age of chivalry, and then from the early Renaissance. And then for the history of dance exercise, we have here the proponents, and these are Dr. Kenneth H Cooper, Howard and Kenneth Swartz, Jackie Sorenson, and Judy Shepard. And then for the last topic, which is the purposes of dance, we have three purposes of dance, in which we have ceremonial dance, recreational dance, and artistic dance. So now we are done with the discussion of our Unit 1. So now we are finished with our Unit 1. I just hope you learned something and then you understood the brief history and nature of dance, as well as the purposes of dance. And I also hope na you are ready with our quiz next week. Okay, so thank you for watching and for listening. Goodbye and take care always.